Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining Coach Wendy here at Change Agent Careers. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the career change continuum and the risks and rewards associated with different types of career change. The topic today, last week we covered job change, which is the lowest risk out of the 4 different types of career change and transition. And the next one that represents low to moderate risk is career development. So this is characterized as progress in a role. So this is also known as a promotion. It could be a lateral change in the existing organization from one position to another. It could be industry change. It could be characterized by, you're the marketing director for a nonprofit, and then you move into the same role, same position, marketing director for a startup, let's say. That's considered career development because even though it doesn't seem like maybe a lateral move like that would be considered development, it is in the sense that you're switching into a new field, right? An industry change is challenging because you have to learn new jargon, new vernacular, and different ways of maybe performing the same job, just in a different sector of the work world. Next, let's see. Well, as opposed to saying next of what would characterize career development, I think you get the idea. Really, the important thing to understand about career development and why this is considered low to moderate risk is because there is still some risk associated with the fear of failure, right? For instance, you've been in the nonprofit industry for 3 to 5 years, and now you're moving into a startup environment. Well, nonprofit and startup environments, if it's a for-profit organization, let's say, is quite different than nonprofit. So there's a lot of fear of the unknown associated with making that kind of change. Even though it's still a marketing director role, let's say, there's still some questions in your mind, or at least there probably should be, some unknowns about what it would be like in that role. Another thing to take into consideration and why this is considered low to moderate risk is, generally speaking, it's not going to take you a whole lot of time to get up to speed in this type of a career transition if it's one that represents, a smaller step. Again, if it's characterized by one industry to another, there's generally a shorter time frame for someone to get up to speed. Now, if it's a promotion, again, there's not as much risk associated with this type of a career change, simply because most likely you already have experience working with the crew or the team. You already have experience working with the direct reports or subordinates or other colleagues, even your potential new boss. Most likely there's not a lot of risk associated with that. Next, if it is a promotion, what represents some risk here is whether or not you'll be met with resistance from folks who before were part of your peer group, right? You were all at the same level. Now you've been promoted. Now you're their superior. So now there's a reporting hierarchy. And this can change relationships. We build relationships with folks that we work with, and we befriend people, and we become sometimes very closely intertwined with each other's personal lives, which is all great. But when someone now goes from being, the drinking buddy on Thursday night happy hours to now they're your superior and they're your boss, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. So there is some risk associated with that. Those friendships could deteriorate and be lost. And it would be then, a very awkward situation to keep it purely professional. But, on the flip side, certainly there are ways that other friendships will evolve and other relationships can be built. Don't want to go into the psychology of that too much, but that is a consideration of what makes this a low to moderate risk in the career change continuum. Then next we have One of the things that characterizes a career development change is if you're positioning up, or if you're or being promoted up the reporting hierarchy, if you will, and you're moving into a new company. Okay, so it represents not only development in your career path, but also in the situation of a company change as well. So that represents, that's higher on the moderate to high risk transition scenario almost. It depends. Because there's, a whole new organization and politics and bureaucracies to be able to navigate. There's, a whole new set of team members and new rules of the road that you have to learn, as well as the position, right? Learning a new position. So, and you may have been hired into the organization and you were hired up, and there may have been people in the organization that positioned for that promotion and weren't selected. And, so there could be some internal resentments that you don't know about. So that represents a little bit more of the moderate risk on the continuation, or excuse me, on the career change continuation model. So there you have it. Just a quick overview of the career development, career change quadrant of the 4 that I'm reviewing in this career change series. Next up is going to be industry change. We'll dig into that a little bit more and talk about the risks and the rewards associated with that type of a career change. Hey, thanks again for joining me. Hoping that these quick short videos are adding some value and answering some questions that you have about the risks and rewards of career change. Thanks for joining me. If you're viewing this from my website, please subscribe to my blog and receive my weekly rantings and wanderings in your inbox every week. If you are watching from my YouTube channel, please subscribe. I'd love to have you join my community and follow what's going on in the world of career development, career change, and all things career related. Again, this is Coach Wendy signing off. Thanks, and have a wildly successful day.